joining so soon. There's a new episode, and I'm about to start it. At least let me ring your bell so you can be notified.
I know you're trying to be clever with this whole cutscene parody thing, but it's just coming off lame. Just say, welcome to Let's Talk About Sonic, the only podcast in the world where we talk about Sonic and nothing else, and stop embarrassing yourself.
Curse you, Mitt! Not only do you foil my podcasts, but you foil my intros as well? I work hard on them! No matter. I will start this episode, and I will be speaking! Was that good? I tried to stay in character.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Alright, cool. So I heard that Sonic Colors Ultimate happened recently.
Yeah, saying it happened is an understatement. Maybe we should talk about that.
I'd like to. It seems there's a lot going on there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, also, hi everybody. Welcome to Let's Talk About Sonic, the only podcast in the world where we talk about Sonic and nothing else. This week we're talking about Sonic Colors Ultimate. My name is Mitt.
My name's Crepe.
And we are here to talk about Sonic Colors Ultimate and nothing else.
Only that. And the original, too, also.
Yeah, maybe a little bit, if we can remember. I say snarkily, with a hearty chuckle, half chuckle.
Yeah, you know, that Sonic Colors Ultimate really has just overwritten the original in every way.
Yeah, the original game is completely inaccessible now. Crazy. Now, full disclosure, I have no reason to plug in my Wii again, let alone my Wii U. And I know it's on Dolphin and stuff, but I'm gonna... Okay, so I played the Switch version, right, of Colors Ultimate, and that version is obviously not the good one. But I still feel like I got some semblance of the Sonic Colors experience. Like, it refreshed me on everything about Sonic Colors. Because I played it when it came out in, 2010. It was a long time ago. But I did play it. I did 100% it. And I am on the way to 100%ing it again. So, even though most of my fresh experiences with, the worst one that breaks, I'm feeling good. I just wanted to put that disclaimer up, so if anyone wants to, grab me by the collar and shake me profusely, there you go.
I have yet to get my hands on Ultimate. I'm currently debating if I'm still interested. I actually do have my Wii U set up, and by set up I mean I have it accessible. I can set it up whenever. And there are worse things I could do than spending my time playing Sonic Colors on my gamepad. Like that's all right. I did try to run in Dolphin a week and a half ago at the time of recording, something like that, and it runs pretty well except for some mild stuttering, and especially it really likes to try to run all the non-gameplay, non-cutscene sections at 60 FPS, and then it has to hitch as it changes back to 30, and that's weird. I think my computer is not great at GameCube and Wii emulation, but we'll set that aside. There's a lot of reason to want to get Ultimate, the least of which being, or not the least of which being that it's on PC, it's on every modern console, it's exceedingly available, whether or not you think it's a good deal.
Yeah, definitely. For what it's worth, I do want, before we move on, Sonic Colors menus do all run at 60 in the original game, and the actual gameplay is 30. So that part is in your computer.
Yeah, okay.
But
okay, so that's just how the game is.
Yeah, that's just how the game is. But Sonic Colors Ultimate strives to be 60 frames per second on everything except the Switch. And unfortunately, it comes with the burden of being on the Epic Game Store. It is the first Sonic game of what I assure you would probably be many to come. To completely break up my Sonic library on Switch. On Steam. I'm not happy about it. That is the sole reason why I did not buy it on Steam, on PC. Jeez. It'll
be coming to Steam eventually, but I don't think we have a set date for that.
Yeah. and like by the time it comes out, it will be too late for me. I
Uh-huh.
I wanted to get the digital deluxe version so I could play it early, and boy did I play it early. Um, there is still a benefit. Like, okay, getting the game on Switch, you are paying in the frame rate and the stability. You're paying for a lot of things, but it's portable, and that does a lot. I know that's kind of the meme is to say, but it's portable, but it is portable. That did
Yeah.
get me to play the game a lot more than I would have otherwise.
Yeah. I'll point out one thing that I heard recently through the Sonic Colors Ultimate thread on Retro. Apparently, the Switch one has messed up jump height for Sonic. All the other versions of Colors Ultimate have Sonic jump at the same height he did in the Wii original. He seems to jump a little lower in the Switch version. I'm not sure if that's been fixed with the new patch that's come out by the time of recording, or if it'll be fixed with the next patch that might be out by the time this episode's up. We don't have a
I would
timeline
hope
for
so.
that. Yeah.
Because
I'm sure it's not like a hugely noticeable difference, but people picked up on it. It's perceptible.
yeah, because like, I mean, we just played it. When did the patch come out? Was that today or was that yesterday?
I think it was yesterday.
Yeah, it was like pretty immediately at the time of recording. And we just played it a little bit ago. And the patch seems to, as far as I can tell, it has not affected my experience playing the game. Because I think it's only really patched out the really bad bugs. Maybe we should just kind of talk about that because I feel like we've been talking about it, assuming the listener understands all there is to know about Sonic Colors Ultimate.
It's so much to get into, but we have to do it.
Yeah, we do have to talk about it. So, it was developed by Blind Squirrel Games, right?
Yeah, by Blind Squirrel.
Yeah,
Not sure if
and
they're like Blind Squirrel Games or Blind Squirrel Entertainment or something, but yeah.
yeah, they had previously worked on BioShock Remaster Collection. What else? Mass Effect.
Yeah, the new Mass Effect remaster that came out, was it last year?
I think so. And as far as I can tell, they kind of have a track record for iffy remasters. Like they're not the best.
Yeah, I'm not even like in Mass Effect spheres or anything on the internet, and I saw a lot of people criticizing the Mass Effect remaster and showing footage of models bugging out, faces looking strange. Bad lighting. Bad lighting was the biggest thing, which carried over to this, unfortunately.
Yeah. And it's hard to say what really happened with this game because there's so many mixed messages. It could have been because I think if memory serves on their website, it does say that they have a good work-life culture balance.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't really know. They're not a developer that I know much about.
Yeah, and it's the games industry also. Like they could say anything to try to make them sound like a good work environment because that's what people are starting to key into these days is caring about that.
Yeah.
Which they should. It's just that it's also that devs can play on that.
Yeah, true.
Play on people looking for that.
For what it's worth, though, Sega, as I'm sure we all know by now, is notoriously very like sloppy, and they play fast and loose with release dates and development and stuff like that. So, as a lot of people have noted, that's kind of like oil and water. So we're not really gonna know what happened with this game, but what we do know is that I think every version of it was programmed in Godot, right?
Yeah, I believe that's the case. Yeah.
Yeah, and we have learned that Godot does not play nice with the Switch, at least not in the way that Sonic Colors handles it. So, upon early access release, which was like a 3-4 days before launch, a lot of people were learning, oh, there's seizure-inducing graphical glitches in this whole game that are relatively easy to access, one of which you can access by just going into and out of maps without going into a level.
Yeah,
because
people found this day one.
Yeah, and it causes like a memory overflow or memory leak, which is incredible. So you could very easily snap this game in half. prior to the patch. I think they have fixed that prior to the patch, but there's still so many graphical errors in the Switch version, and there's a lot of weird game logic stuff too, just overall, that really did not make it through okay. Like, first of all, the lighting is really messed up in all versions of the game. That's not like a Switch exclusive thing. But notably, I also don't remember if this is across the board or if it's just the Switch version because it runs 30 and the other version runs 60, is that the badniks that fly around and spit out spike balls at twice the speed, making them completely unavoidable.
I would sooner guess that it's an across the board thing, because it comes off to me like Blind Squirrel not recognizing that some or a lot of enemies and gameplay objects were ran all of their logic on the fact that the game was running at 30 FPS. You know, a lot of games programming runs logic for object interactions and object behaviors on frame counts, on numbers of frames. So if you change how many frames the game runs at, that can mess with how things perform. And with something like that, it seems like just an artifact of moving the game from 30 to 60 in the overall remaster.
Yeah, which is kind of incredible because the Switch version runs maximum 30 FPS. And I say maximum because if you're playing handheld, not only does the resolution get cut, which makes sense, but I'm pretty sure the frame rate dips down to like 20. It's not great. There's a lot of other glitches that just kind of happen. I do think there's one booster in Asteroid Coaster, which I've posted a video of.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's also frame rate dependent, someone once told me. I forget which act it is, but it is a booster that's supposed to lead into, I want to say, a zip line, and it drops you off on a planet that you run around on a 2D axis. And
yes.
In Sonic Colors Ultimate, if you hit that booster, Sonic will go too fast. He will go like twice as fast as he's supposed to from that booster. He will completely derail from the automated section. And at that point, you're on your own. I have managed to get back onto the planet, but because you're not getting onto the planet the way you're supposed to, he's not actually stuck to the planet, so he'll just fly off.
Uh-huh.
It's a lot. I've seen Sonic spinning around, activating the Ghost Wisp. I've seen Tails plunking him back into the level upside down. I've seen all of his cosmetics get turned black. Earlier today, we saw that a big chunk of Planet Wisp's skybox was just completely white. And I have video of that.
Yeah, until it decided to turn into some type of green texture for a frame.
I don't even know what that was. It looked like a bush, but it was like super lime green. I'll probably upload videos of it later. So people who follow me on Twitter, you'll know when this episode was recorded because you'll know when those tweets went live. But yeah, like there's just so much in this remaster that really, it's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. That's all on like the buggier side. In terms of just the strange decision side, we already mentioned the lighting, and it's hard to say if it's just poorly done lighting or if it's busted. Especially going off the Mass Effect remaster, which also had some really busted looking lighting. Like Tropical Resort, despite having seemingly even brighter lampposts than in the original, is super dark. It's like Tropical Resort on a new moon. Just no light. It feels like it's really strange. Other zones have issues of like inconsistent vibrancy. Aquarium Park looks strange at times because some parts will just look really bright in coloring and other parts won't. There's a certain set piece in one act where Sonic runs down a roadway in Aquarium Park that turns into kind of like a rocky side of a mountain, like it's been carved out, the road ends, and then it returns to road once you hit the bottom. And that you could make out the texture and coloring of that rock in the original. In Ultimate, it's near black. It's so strange.
Yeah, it almost looks like a texture is missing.
Yeah. And like that's just it's all over the place. The game just looks strange. A lot of elements that should be light already are lighter. A lot of elements that should be lit by things that are light feel like they're not. This affects like Asteroid Coaster also.
Yeah, Sonic himself, his skin is like yellow. And his eyes are darker than his skin.
Yeah. It's baffling.
Tails is also kind of a mess.
I barely seen him.
He's like, I think he has similar lighting problems where a lot of his whites just turn out really dark and gray, which Tails has a lot of those.
Yeah, that's literally his secondary color.
Yeah, so.
It's stuff like that. Like it's hard to tell how much of it is intentional decision on Blind Squirrel's part, or even weirder, intentional decision on oversight from Sonic Team's part, and how much of it is we didn't have time to dedicate fixes.
Yeah. There was rumblings that Sega was not happy with how it was turning out last year while it was in dev, which I don't remember the source on that. I feel like it's kind of our responsibility at using our platform to not necessarily corroborate unsubstantiated claims like that, assuming it is. I just don't remember. But I don't know. I just don't want anyone to throw rocks at anybody else just because of a video game. Like, it turned out bad. It is what it is. We've talked about it before that Sonic will never die because he's so much more than the games. And it feels weird that, like, I guess that hasn't really hit everyone the same way that I think it's hit us. Which I feel like that's just a major part of the fandom, you know? Like, Sonic will always be able to take hits like this because the games aren't the end-all be-all. Like,
yeah. The comic is still going great.
Yeah, the comic is very good.
People love the IDW comic.
I will say that this remaster is definitely one of Sonic's most, like, it's kind of up there. It's not like Sonic Boom bad, but it's pretty bad. It's pretty nasty.
Yeah, it's the sort of thing where, like, people remember Sonic Boom for being a glitchy mess, but they also remember it for just being not a very competently made game, competently structured game. It doesn't control great. It has weird visuals and weird character writing, all of that stuff. But they're going to remember Sonic Colors Ultimate for the fact that it had a potentially epileptic seizure-inducing glitch on early access day one. Like,
yeah.
Early access being just a handful of days before actual launch. People are going to remember that even if the rest of the game structure is fine, because it's still just 2010 Sonic Colors.
Yeah, exactly. And I also do want to put out there that all of the glitches we have mentioned, and a lot of the ones that you have seen online, are legit. There was a weird kind of rift, and that for a brief period, I think towards the end of early access, where people were under the impression that all of the glitches, or at least a large amount of them, were emulator glitches, because there was like maybe one or two that were. No. All of these are very easily done on console. I did an entire playthrough of the game and even recorded a bunch of my a bunch of the stuff that I ran into and posted on Twitter. A lot of it's legit. It's not like oh my god, we completely went off the rails bashing this game. I can't believe it's all emulator problems. No. It's all legit.
Even the T-posing Sonic glitch that someone posted, that after the dust had settled a little bit on the are all the glitches just emulator glitches discourse, after all that dust had settled, people still thought the T-posing Sonic glitch that was posted that had the mouse cursor in front of it and stuff was emulator only. Someone even managed to replicate that on console.
Yeah, I will say this about that one. T-pose glitches are nothing.
Yeah, they're nothing.
They are absolutely nothing. Every single game ever released that has 3D graphics has a T-pose glitch somewhere. They are completely not that surprising. Even Nintendo games have T-pose glitches. You could T-pose
Yeah.
in Smash Brothers, you could T-pose in Mario Odyssey. It's absolutely nothing. People make a huge deal out of it. The T-pose glitch is so far down on the totem pole. If Sonic were just running around T-posing and that was the biggest issue the game had, it'd be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
That would be a perfect game.
Do you have anything else on kind of this imperfections, weird design decision subject before I move to the music?
Um,
Or actually, even before I move to the music, before I move to the sound.
I guess if we well, the thing that I would want to move on to is like the weird new UI changes, which would then lead me into,
Mm.
the new mode. So all of the new stuff they added to this game uses UI that's like it feels different from all the existing Sonic Colors UI. All the UI that was in the original game is basically intact. The only thing that's really changed from the original is the options menu, because now it has all the stuff for
For
customization
customizing, yeah.
and the achievements, stuff like that. But the way that UI all is, it is a completely different level of polish from the native UI throughout the rest of the game. The biggest offender is the new Metal Sonic Race UI. So in every world, and I don't remember if this is required for world completion. I don't think it is, but in every zone, one act will also be used for a Metal Sonic race, which is basically just a ghost race. You race him to the end of the act, and whoever gets there first wins. Um, to initiate that from the menu, you have to press like the X button on the given stage. Instantly, a pop-up will appear, and it says, "Do you accept? Yes or no?" And it's like a pop-up window, like it's going to give you a virus. And then you press yes, and then it fades into the race start screen, and it's normal. Um, but then as soon as you win, then it's also like a really weird slow fade in to say that you won. And it's really like unprofessional and janky feeling. Metal Sonic himself is broken. He just does whatever he wants through the stage. And I have recorded video of him just completely like jittering across the stage in the Starlight Carnival race during the part where the ceiling falls down on you. I had to wait in between sections for that. And while I was waiting, I saw him just appear from the
Oh,
background.
yeah.
And then he was just zooming around left and right side of the screen until the ceiling rose back up. So it's really strange. It's all really poorly implemented. The achievements are also really unprofessional. They like slowly fade in. They'll persist even when the screen like completely blackens for a loading screen or something, and then they'll eventually slowly fade out.
Uh,
They're like so unceremonious and bad feeling.
it's so weird because a lot of this I would definitely attribute to like outsourcing it to a different studio.
Mm-hmm.
But I think back to Sonic Adventure DX, and that was an in-house port. And that wasn't great either. But I think back to Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, and that was fine. I think a lot of people think about Sonic Adventure DX in terms of Sonic Team's track record with porting their own games and trying to enhance them. I suppose to some degree they didn't really enhance Sonic Adventure 2 for 2 Battle. They did a lot of like minor model edits to make them smoother since the GameCube could run higher poly count stuff. But for the most part, it's the same game in the way that it looks. Actually, there's some lighting differences, huh?
Yeah.
I'm getting sidetracked. The point I'm trying to make is that, like, I don't know how good a job Sonic Team would have done porting colors to modern consoles if they also had intended to, like, revitalize the way the game looked, revamp it, give it new features and stuff. Maybe stuff like the UI would feel more congruous with the rest of the game in the way that it looks. But I don't know. Maybe we would have gotten the same lighting issues. Maybe we would have had some weird texture changes that are arbitrary and look weird, just like in SADX.
Yeah, ideally. But it's like I guess stuff like okay. I just remember that Sonic's eyes don't move in Sonic Colors Ultimate, so that probably wouldn't be a
Oh,
thing.
yeah. That probably wouldn't be a thing. Maybe also Sonic's weird, slow blink cycles. Where he does a long blink like a cat.
That's how you know that Sonic trusts you.
Mm-hmm. Sonic Colors Ultimate taught me this.
That's awesome.
It sounds to me like the Metal Sonic race mode is kind of mechanically lifeless.
Yeah.
That it's just you're playing the act, but Metal Sonic is there, and it's more like a beat the time limit sort of thing.
Yeah, Metal Sonic himself just uses Supersonic's animations, which fit. It's just that like if you know that, then the magic is kind of gone. He looks kind of stupid because like he stands there when you start the race doing like the Supersonic pose, and it's like, why is Metal Sonic doing that?
It's the return of his hero's personality.
Yeah,
Wants to be better than everyone else now.
it's it's so weird because like it's technically a story retcon. The races themselves have zero impact on the story unless
Yeah.
you count Rise of the Wisps, which is the 2-part animated series that Sega released in promotion of this game, which is very good. It's the best thing to come out of this game.
Mm-hmm. But none of the cutscenes have been changed at all. They're just the original Wii games cutscenes up-resed.
Yeah, Metal Sonic is just there. Actually, I'm derailing because we're going to talk about that. There is no reason for the cutscenes to just be up-resed. So when the game came out, it was pretty quickly cracked open, as it tends to be with new games, and turns out all of the cutscene assets from the original game are in there. Like, the original cutscene assets. You can recreate the cutscenes in-engine and upscale them, like, without having to be FMVs, which is insane.
Yeah, the thing that some people figured out is that it is just the original cutscene data, which means that none of them look good in 60 FPS. You get a lot of jittery camera movement and model movement because it's all meant for 24 FPS, which just means you should have the cutscenes play at 24 frames per second.
It would
so
be
they could just do that. Yeah, maybe be a little goofy, but like, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about it. I'd have to like see it in context because I'm sure the wider gaming public will be like, why'd my frame count get lower when we go in the cutscenes? This looks so different. Whereas like, I think I would look at it and think, that looks like good cinematic animation, except I don't think that because it's still Sonic Colors cutscenes.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean. I don't know. They definitely could have done something without having to meticulously almost reanimate the whole thing anyway, just to make it look correct for 60 FPS.
Yeah, I mean, do the character animations themselves look fine? Because if it's just the camera moves, then you would just have to, fiddle around with that.
No, it's
can't imagine
both.
that'd be that. Oh, it is both.
Like,
okay, then never mind.
It's all jittery though. It's not that any animation breaks. It's that for the frames where the game never expected there to be a frame update, character models shift to one side or don't move at all when they should be, and so it's either stuttery or things are shifting around between frames in ways that look not good.
Interesting.
Someone posted a video of a rendering an engine on Retro on the thread like something like a week ago.
Huh.
So for what it's worth, if anyone listening wants to find that, it might take a little digging, but it is in like probably the last 10, 15 pages of the Sonic Colors Ultimate thread on Sonic Retro. That's forums.sonicretro.org. If anyone just wants to find that, it's available. People are modding the game.
Yeah, they said they weren't going to, but they are.
Oh, they.
The nebulous modding gods.
Yeah, it was like one person speaking for like 5 or 6 other people who agreed with them, but then, that's what, 5, 6, that's like 6 or 7 people total compared to however many people are interested in modding colors. And then a bunch of people realized, oh dang, working with Godot is like hella easy and
Yeah.
just went to town.
Yeah, I think to some extent it does make sense to not want to. Because you're definitely like saying, "Oh yeah, we'll fix your game for you." That's not great. And I'm not saying that like, "Oh, that's rude to the developers." It's not good to put that on the modders. Like, "Oh, I hope the
Yeah,
modders fix this game." They shouldn't have to. It's not their responsibility.
it's not.
So like they'll do what they want to do. It is cool to see what they're doing with it. I do remember seeing I've seen a couple things. Like I know someone was working on the 3D models for the wisps in the capsules, and that was pretty cool.
Yeah, was
I
that Dario or Zoni? One or the other?
I think it might have been Dario. I do remember it being a name that I had recognized, but I don't remember offhand, unfortunately.
I know Dario and Zoni were prominent Generations modders. They've done a lot for that, and they're still in the community. I remember it. I remember seeing links to both their tweets in regards to stuff being modded in. Just can't remember who did what. Someone actually, I wish I had their name on hand. We might be able to pull this up because I think you linked it on our Discord server.
Yeah.
Someone has fixed Sonic's eyes animations.
Yeah,
there was some other problem with it. I can't remember, but they got his eye animations back.
Yeah, and I remember in those screenshots too, his colors, the lighting for him was just fixed. It just looked a lot better.
Yeah. Again, just no clue if the way that Sonic looks in this remaster is intentional or not.
Yeah,
It looks like butts.
I would imagine not, because he does look like butts.
Yeah. So I wanted to bring up the sound earlier, because there's a lot of sound everything issues in Colors Ultimate.
Yeah, they're... Whew.
The biggest thing, which took people like a while to notice the cause of, is that there's a ton of panning issues with both the sound effects and the music in the game, often independently of each other. You'll have situations where the music's fine, it's coming in both ears perfectly fine, both coming out both sound channels, but the sound effects are all to the left, all of them, all the way. And other times where the sounds are fine, music's all the way on the right or all the way in the left or a little bit in the left, like all these little things. What's going on? You end a level where the sound's like that, it persists to the end screen where it shows you results and your score. It seems that the way music and sound effect objects are handled in Colors Ultimate is different from how it was in the original. And I don't know how it was in the original, but it seems that in Ultimate, it's all handled by objects that are in the same game space as everything else. And the way that panning is handled is where those objects are in relation to Sonic or the camera. In relation to the camera, I think, because it tends to happen a lot where the camera changes angle on a 2D section to show it at an angle, sometimes to give you a better look at what's coming ahead, and suddenly all the sound effects will be in a different place panning-wise. All of them. So I think it's related to the camera, and it's super strange, especially because it holds to the results screen. It's such a big oversight, I think.
Yeah, it is a lot.
Really makes me wonder what the development was like for this remaster.
Friend of the show and world's greatest Sonic penciler, Vert, had mentioned this to me while I was playing it for him. And yeah, he couldn't stand it anymore, so he turned the audio off the stream.
I was able to like notice it less most of the time if I had the audio low, but sometimes when it went all to the left, you couldn't not notice it.
Yeah, I'm a little jealous that Sonic Colors can have its botched stereo, but when I'm playing my funny sounds on voice mod, I can't.
Oh yeah, because everything in Discord comes in mono.
Yep.
God. So that's been a huge problem. Also on the sound design front, all the volume levels are messed up.
Mm-hmm.
Like all of them. A lot of the times it's really hard to hear the music in any clarity over the sound effects. This is not helped by some of the new sound effects just being louder than the original.
Yep.
They added this neat mechanic, which I hope is going to be in Sonic 22, because 2022. Because it's neat mechanically, where with the homing attack reticule, if you time your homing attack at a certain time, when the reticule is overlapping itself in a certain way, because when it first appears it's like shrinking, um, you get a perfect homing attack, which gives you some boost energy from an enemy, or from a spring, or from anything that you can homing attack, which is cool. It, aside from giving you more boost more often in Sonic Colors, which lets you play it a little faster and a little looser, it's also just kind of a way to make the homing attack feel a little more satisfying and arcadey, which is cool. The problem is that the new sound effect they made for it is terrible.
Yeah, it is an obnoxious, like, shine sound that will play every single time you do it. And this is a game where you do homing attack chains. So imagine hearing a loud shine sound over and over.
I feel like I need to note also that it has like this slight pitch tapering off at the end of the sound where the pitch dips a little bit. I have to admit, this sound doesn't sound like it's a good thing. It doesn't sound like you did a good thing. It kind of sounds like a negative sound, like a mistake sound in a game. And it's I don't know what their intent was with it. And I don't like it.
I'm surprised that they went for such, like, an obnoxious and, I guess, ear-catching sound, because there's already, like, a rainbow effect when you do it, which, like, I wouldn't say should be all you need, but, like, I feel like that in combination with a less obvious sound would be fine. Like, you don't need to announce to the whole Interstellar amusement park that you just got a perfect homing attack every single time you do it. It's fine.
Oh yeah, when I get a perfect homing attack on Planet Wisp, everyone at the lobby in Tropical Resort can hear it.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's crazy. Now, the other thing that really, really bothers me in terms of volume levels is the new music.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a weird one. If you remastered a game that had a lot of music reuse in it, and you thought to yourself, you know what? I'm going to make some new music, some new remixes of those old songs to fill the gaps where songs were reused before. Would you want that to be the player's first experience with the soundtrack, and then have it move to the older songs, which are maybe more familiar / less impactful? Or would you want to save it for later in its use in the game, so that it gets built up to, even if that means it's less in the spotlight? This is a moral quandary, I guess. Anyway, what they did was the former. And that means that in every zone in Sonic Colors Ultimate, you have like the new remixes of the original 3-act themes that were in the original game, since every zone has six acts. First, you hear those first, and then you get the old music. And while I like the old music more, I feel like it's less impactful in the way that it's used in Ultimate, because a lot of the new remixes are a lot punchier. I don't think it's a great punchier, but the sound is punchy with the way that it uses percussion and the way that it uses some new instrument synths here and there. And it just goes from having a lot of energy to a little less energy at times. I feel like the only zone that really escapes this is like Asteroid Coaster, maybe Starlight Carnival. It's a weird decision.
Yeah, I wish I could remember the Starlight Carnival ones offhand, because I do agree that the Asteroid Coaster ones are pretty okay. Like, you know, it fits Asteroid Coaster. They're already pretty similar sounding, but like Planet Wisp really gets the bad end of it. And like when you start the game, when you first boot up the game, the Tropical Resort remix, really not as good as the original.
No. And this is all like matters of subjectivity. I know there's a lot of people who do like the new remixes. That's cool. That's good if you do. I don't. I feel like they lose a lot of what made Sonic Colors music special to begin with. And Sonic Colors soundtrack is really personal to me. I haven't like talked about my journey with Sonic much, just because it hasn't really come up, But I was a decently big Sonic fan from my late childhood to mid adolescence. When Sonic 06 happened, not my mid adolescence, my adolescence when my adolescence started. When Sonic 06 happened, I kind of tuned out, and part of that was because Sonic was making the jump to HD consoles when I wasn't. I only had a Wii. That was it for me. So, and I tried Secret Rings and didn't enjoy it. That's the whole thing. So I just kind of fell off the train for a bit. And what brought me back was hearing Planet Wisp music shortly after Colors Wii came out. Like, I'm not kidding. It was either November or December of 2010. I heard Planet Wisp music on YouTube because a friend sent me the link, and I was like, this is Sonic music? This is good. And it convinced me to buy the game. And I bought it, and had a great time, and then Sonic was permanently my hyper-focus from that year onward. It just never went away.
That's how we get you.
Yeah. So, Sonic Colors soundtrack means a lot to me. There's very few songs that I don't love, and there's none that I dislike. Cutscene music aside.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting to me. This is going to be a huge tangent, but it's really interesting to me because I don't think Sonic Team's sound team has captured what made Sonic Colors music interesting since its release. My big touchstones for this are the Planet Wisp remixes for Generations and the Tropical Resort remix singular for Generations 3DS.
Yeah.
They're not bad, but they're so distant from the sound that Planet Wisp and Tropical Resort had in the original game. And I guess that's fine, but like, go and listen to Rooftop Run and Crisis City, which are the most like distinct remixes of the music of the original tracks in Generations for that game, and they're still recognizably those songs. They do a lot to stand out, but they do a lot to maintain the energy that those songs had before. Whereas, like, it feels like every time they've bothered to go back to Planet Wisp music, they've only made it less and less natural. It felt to me always like the whole thing with Planet Wisp was that it's supposed to have this lush, pretty, natural, and understated sound with the percussion and with the piano and the guitar, so that it contrasts nicely with the industrialized aspects of Eggman's takeover of it, and highlighting what Planet Wisp was up to that point and what you can still see in it. Like, at least that's my reading. But then, in Generations, both remixes are very synthy. A lot of the natural sounds in the original song, even for the Act 2 remix for Modern Sonic, are stripped away or kind of suppressed. And then when you get to Planet Wisp Act 1 and Sonic Colors Ultimate, you get this huge EDM beat. And I have to stress, there's nothing wrong with a huge EDM beat. It's just why here? Why right here? You go and listen to like Aquarium Park and Starlight Carnival, and the new EDM elements there make sense. They sound appropriate. Whether or not I think they meld well with the other sounds that they're using, whatever, they still sound appropriate. They're just making such strange decisions with Planet Wisp music in particular.
Yeah, I feel like the touchstone for me, which is really weird, because at the 30th anniversary orchestra, they had a new remix of Speak With Your Heart.
Yeah.
And like, it was pretty good. It wasn't like my favorite remix in the world. It had like a weird kind of trap breakdown part.
Mm-hmm. That lasted to the end of the song too.
Yeah, and in the original, I think that was just like a quiet part. Yeah, It was a quiet part. It was like a quiet, slow, soft part. And now it's like a weird trap remix part that, yeah, like you said, lasts to the end of the song. And that's like, it's fine. It's whatever. The rest of the song sounds fine still. But there's another different remix in Sonic Colors Ultimate that doesn't sound as good because it's not as punchy and triumphant as the Anniversary Orchestra remix. And it's just not as fun as the original remix, but it's like I think the whole song has like that weird kind of trap EDM undertone now, except it's just boring and flat, which is incredible. Like I don't know how you do that. I will always resent that we never got a high quality version of the rendition of it from I think Sonic Boom 2015, 2013. It was a long time ago.
Hmm.
Where they played it live, and I believe Cash Cash was the one who was there live playing it live. And there was a really interesting like vibrato effect on their voice while they sung, which is like really interesting and cool. And like Crush 40 was playing the instrumental. It's like, wow, this sounds really great. I wish I could have it in something that wasn't potato like BlackBerry quality, but sure, it's fine. It's cool.
Mitt found 2 different BlackBerry potato quality uploads of it, which is great.
Yeah, one of them is like outright potato quality. The other one, the audio was completely blown out.
Yeah. Uh, I like. Obviously, we have a history of live performances being hard to document and archive, but like, God, it's really frustrating here. Would really love a high quality recording of that performance.
Yeah, and this just hit me now. We probably never will because the musical stylings of Sonic in general has moved long past that, so they'll never
Hmm.
feel the need to touch upon that again.
Yeah. Not unless Crush 40 plays it again.
Also, I think it was 2011 because it's
Yeah,
super old, and I think it was before Lost World came out, which could only
I
mean it's
I think you're
2011.
right. Yeah, that sounds familiar to me.
So yeah, actual BlackBerry quality.
God, speaking of Lost World, just really quick, since I noted this down after I watched you play earlier, isn't it weird that they took some of the Wisp themes from Lost World for Colors Ultimate instead of keeping the original Colors tracks?
It is very weird, and like it didn't click in my head until you pointed that out, but it is super weird.
Yeah, it's subtle for a lot of them. You might not notice a difference with like the Laser Wisp at first, or I think the Drill Wisp might have sounded slightly different, but it might not. It might also not have. It's the underwater Drill Wisp track that's really distinctly different because they just gave it a completely different arrangement in Lost World. It's
Yeah,
it's slower in tempo. They doubled it in length and made that second half lower in key by a whole step for some reason. And it's just kind of weird. I don't think it's bad. It's just weird, and I'd never heard it before because I haven't played Lost World.
yeah. Like I've remembered that there were two different ones, but I couldn't remember which was which. So like when I was playing it, it just never registered in my brain. Like, oh, this wasn't the one that was in colors. It was, oh yeah, the other one must have been the Lost World one then. Because
Yeah,
why would they replace the Wisp themes? That doesn't make any sense.
no,
Like
it's super weird.
not even with new ones, with the existing ones that are
God,
different.
here's something that gets me too. They remixed all the boss themes, and what I thought going into the game's release was that all of those remixed boss themes were going to be used either for the first time you fight each type of boss, or just for the second. But no, they're just the only boss themes now. Instead of having both the remix and the original, like they have with the 3 act themes for every zone, there's just one boss theme for each of the 3 types of boss now. Like that I don't get at all. I thought the point of remixing the music was to eliminate the reuse of music. That's what it seemed like. That's what it seemed like. Oh yeah, did they ever go back on Planet Wisp's remixes being exclusive to pre-ordering the digital deluxe edition or whatever?
Beats me. I don't know. I don't actually know offhand if that was a glitch or not because like I know there was some exclusive music that you were supposed to get for having the digital deluxe, and I don't know what that is. Like when I booted the game up and I went into the music player, I was like, is there anything here that's supposed to be out of the ordinary? Because it was all just the music in the game, and it really wasn't that
Hmm.
different. And like I know that the remixes themselves aren't exclusive to digital deluxe, which maybe they should have done. But like, I don't know. It's so weird that this game doesn't have dual audio.
Dual audio?
Like two different soundtracks. which I
Oh,
guess dual
yeah.
audio is more typically used for like two different languages. But like,
Right.
but
But
yeah,
but I
still.
get you. Yeah. It is weird. It's super strange. Most remasters these days that have changed soundtracks have an option for the original.
Yeah, and I really don't know why they don't include the original one here because it's like it's the original soundtrack, and it's not always like oh the initial three acts and the latter three acts have the new remixes and the original ones respectively. They kind of just intersperse it, and it's weird. Uh, excuse me, but like I don't know. I wish there was just more options for it. And like you said, it's so weird that like you play uh two of each kind of boss. So like
Mm-hmm.
why didn't they use both?
It's just really strange. I gotta question a lot of the decisions that went into this game's most of what it has.
Ugh. You know what we shouldn't question though?
What?
Uh Sonic Colors. It's a game.
Yeah, because I think it's still pretty good.
Yeah, we've spent so much time talking about the remaster, but we should take this opportunity to just talk about Sonic Colors before this episode gets a little too downer. We've been having some downers lately.
We've been having some downers lately. That's what happens when we start talking about the 2010s games.
Yeah, it happens. But so the funny thing is that I think before I was finished playing, I made a meme, I made a joke, on Discord. I said, "Oh yeah, Forces is better level design," and it was kind of like a half-hearted joke thought, but I think the core of what I was thinking there is that Forces made more of an effort to be 3D than Colors did. Colors makes no effort to be a 3D game. It
Yeah.
is not one, basically. But what Colors does offer, which I think is relatively interesting, is the diversity and pathways through the wisps and how that affects your score and rank, which is something that not a lot of other Sonic games really bother with. The only thing I could really think of is SA2, which is also very score heavy with your rank. But most boost games, I can't speak for Unleashed because I'm not familiar with that.
Mm.
Um, most games with rank really heavily rely on your time. If you get a good time and you don't die, you'll get an S rank. That's usually how it goes. But Sonic Colors is really stingy. Um, it's not too bad on replay, as I've been learning going through getting an S rank on everything. But like, it can be tough. Like you got to put the effort in to get an S rank. You got to
Yeah.
get the wisp color bonuses. You got to get a lot of rings. Hundreds of rings get you a lot of score. Um, you got to keep those rings. But with the new Tails mechanic, where he picks you up out of a pit, that keeps your score. Like when you die, usually you lose score and you lose time, but that's kind of gone now, which is nice.
It's weird in like trying to make a replacement for the lives mechanic and doing it in a way that didn't actually take that much away from what made lives annoying in colors. They instead made a mechanic that makes getting S ranks easier.
Kind of. It basically means that if you die, it's not a run killer, which I think is kind of appreciated because S ranking in Sonic Colors could be tedious. So like one simple mistake, and let's put this out there: Sonic Colors does not have the best controls in the world. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so like if you flub a jump or something, then Tails can pluck you up, and then well, okay, the the real issue is that when Tails does that, all of the collectibles respawn. So if you picked up a red ring, you have to re-pick it up, but that the first time you picked it up doesn't get deducted from your score, so
That's what
you
I
could just
mean.
farm. Yeah,
Yeah. So if you really wanted to, that's a way to build your score up.
yeah.
Um, I can't remember. I think we like didn't we find out that Colors Ultimate might not have the like time up you can't get any more score thing that Colors had?
It does.
Okay, it does. Okay.
Yeah,
It
the
was
game
just
hit me
like
with that a couple times.
all right. So I think like when I was watching you play it the first time, which was you know, a little while ago at this point, it just didn't come up when we were expecting it to.
Yeah, the thing about that one too, whether or not this was like this in the original game, I assume it was. If you hit that time up bonus, you do not get any more score. Period. You do not
period.
get bonus score from when the level
Nothing.
tally ends. You get nothing. Your score is your score, period. Enjoy your C rank.
Yeah, so like the you could in theory grind score up using Tails saves. In theory. We haven't tried it.
It's probably not efficient though, because you're only getting a set payout. And I think at some point Tails does push you ahead.
Oh really?
Yeah, I think that happened to me once when I was trying to get like a red ring, and the level design in particular was very obnoxious about how you would get it. Oh, it was the level, I think in Asteroid Coaster.
Oh really? I was expecting it to be that one Aquarium Park act
I don't
with
remember.
the hover.
No, it wasn't the hover one. It was the Block Wisp one, the Cube Wisp one rather. And I did that again tonight when I got the S rank, and you had said something about it. But it's the one where you have to platform across the singular platforms with the Cube Wisp to get to the one red ring that's like all the way at the end and above the
yeah,
ring.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was that one.
That's the one where you died and came back and got the red ring a second time.
That's a different level. You're thinking of a different level. That one's in Aquarium
okay.
Park. The one I'm thinking of is in
I didn't watch you play any Asteroid Coaster tonight, so.
Really? What was it then? Because I'm pretty sure I did it tonight and you had seen it.
I only remember watching you play Planet Wisp and Aquarium Park.
Maybe it was Aquarium Park and I'm just misremembering. But it wasn't the one where it's like a really short level. I mean, it wasn't a really short level, but the one that you're thinking of is the one that's outside, and it has the Ferris wheel platforms.
Yeah, and the whole platforming section where you step on the switch on the platform and it makes them all rotate.
Yeah, that's not the one I'm talking about. I'm talking about the one. It might have been Planet Wisp. It is Planet Wisp. Yeah, because you're at the very bottom of Planet Wisp.
Oh, that one. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Because I remember I remarked on it because as soon as I saw the room that had the egg ponds in it and you bust them up and the red ring appears, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember going for an S ring in this one.
Yeah, and the first time I had done that when I was trying to get all the red rings, I kept botching that platforming segment so many times that eventually Tails just plunked me off in a completely different location that made it basically impossible to go back and get it.
See, that's not like the worst accessibility feature for a game for children. It's just I wish something like that could be turned off, because that is like a situation where it has directly impacted the way you're trying to play the game, because it could cut you off from trying to get the thing you're trying to get.
Yeah, definitely.
Just one extra way that games need better options.
Yep. It's a step sideways. Not one step forward, one step back. It's just a step sideways.
Love those lateral steps.
Yep. This game mostly makes lateral steps. There's a couple steps backwards, but it's mostly lateral steps.
Yeah, game mostly makes lateral steps. If we're talking about just colors as a game, then I want to take the opportunity, after being so down on the Wisps for being a reoccurring element, to say they are cool and fun in this game.
Yeah, they really are. They are really interesting in this game, which is kind of amazing. It's really incredible how they are not interesting in their later appearances. I'm trying not to be a downer. It's just how I'm thinking.
Yeah. You would think they would be this obnoxious show stealing or spotlight stealing gimmick in colors, but they mostly feel fluid with the rest of the game and feel like a natural element of it.
Yeah,
it helps that a lot of times it's not like they're missable. It's not like they're like something you can just sidestep as if they don't matter, but they're optional in the sense that you can take them and see where it'll get you, because you kind of want to. Like, you want to see more of the level. Most of the time when you play colors, if there's more of a level to be seen, you probably want to see it, because you probably want to get the red rings, or you want to play it like you'd play an older Sonic game, where it's sometimes just worthwhile to see a different part of the level sometimes.
Yeah.
So they're optional in a good way, as opposed to optional in the Lost World sense, where you can just bypass it and it doesn't really impact anything.
Yeah, it helps that they are also great for score. Wisps
Hmm.
are like your number one best friend when it comes to score boosting, besides like the cube wisp, and I guess I'm trying to think of which other wisp, if any, just don't give you score or like a color bonus, because I think
Yeah,
it's basically just cube.
yeah, I think so, because I think even the Rocket Wisp gives you multiple color bonuses for how long you have it out.
Yeah, it does like interesting platforming challenges with them. Um, it gives you opportunities to like not use them the instant you acquire them, and rather you hold on to them for later and find more secrets. The
Oh
one
yeah,
thing I'm not super big on is that like they kind of force replays because a lot of levels will have spots for wisp capsules that you do not have yet.
you don't have, yeah.
So you have to come back with after you have gotten that wisp in a previous level to then get more content out of previous levels, which is I don't like that much. And I do part of me does feel like a lot of the freedom and flexibility of the wisps comes specifically from that is the backtracking, which I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, it feels more deliberately like padding compared to the use of them when you just already have them.
Yeah.
That's that's running the game time up a little more rather than getting the player to be excited about new things they can be doing.
Yeah, definitely. But at the very least they're still fun to use.
Yeah.
Um they have their own puzzles. Like even if cube doesn't give you any score, they're often used in very localized and specific ways that make them important, and the puzzle that they are, surrounded by is relatively compelling,
Yeah.
and you're rewarded for doing it. So,
I think a big thing with them also, um, which I feel like it might have been you or it might have been someone else I saw, gives them saying this is what I mean. Kind of gives them a comparable aspect to the elemental shields sometimes, is that most of them are about traversal in ways that Sonic can't do without them. Um, and they're all time limited, which separates them. Ooh, it makes them a little more like the hats in Mario 64 than the power ups in all the games beforehand and most of the ones after.
yeah, I was gonna say the galaxy power ups.
The Galaxy power ups is a better comparison, yeah. They're kind of like the Galaxy power ups in that they're timed, but you do things with them often required. Um, but they allow you to do things you can't do without them that are fun. But I think about how, like, the Spike's Wisp lets you just go up walls, whole walls, uh, even like simple, even hard 90-degree turns on walls and ceilings. You can just go and it's fun. It's cool. It's cool to have a completely wall and ceiling hugging spin dash. Um, the Rocket Wisp is just a big jump. It's just a huge, enormous jump that you come down from. Like these things are fun for Sonic gameplay. Like I like them.
I just had the worst idea ever because we would both love it, but it's evil.
Yeah.
The wisps would be awesome in classic Sonic.
Uh, in that they would be fun to play around with.
And they also already build off of a lot of what Sonic has in those games in a way that feels natural.
You know,
Like
that's a good point.
the draw of the Spike Wisp then becomes I can crawl up all the walls. Like it's not, oh, I got a spin dash and I use that to crawl up. It's now I can go on the walls.
Yeah.
And I can do all the things I do normally, but I can do them on the walls.
I'm kind of surprised I haven't seen anyone do this yet.
Yeah, I guess part of it is that the wisps themselves are like a very modern adjacent aesthetically thing. That's a weird sentence.
Hmm.
They
I
feel
think,
very
like,
intrinsically tied to modern.
yeah, and I agree with you on that. I think people could definitely take more from what the Wisps do gameplay wise and bring that to their non-modern style 2D Sonic games.
Yeah.
Or heck, even the more modern style ones.
Yeah, I mean that's basically what Colors DS is, which I don't know enough about to speak for, but that is
Yeah.
what that is. And that game doesn't have the spike wisp, so oh well.
I'm trying to remember. It doesn't, right?
No, it doesn't, I don't think, because it has burst.
Yeah. Still gonna look it up. I typed Sonic Colors CD.
God. Because it's got burst, laser, void instead of frenzy, unless it has void and frenzy. I think it has void and frenzy, actually.
No, it does not have Frenzy. I remember it
does not
has
have
Void
Frenzy?
and not Frenzy. Because
I coulda swore
those
it
two
had
do
two
have the
purple.
same music.
Okay, I could have swore it had two different purple ones. But I know it has rocket. I can't remember if it has hover or not. I
Yeah,
don't
okay.
think it has
only
cube either.
it only has the 5. Wow, okay. I'm glad I looked it up because it doesn't even have hover. It has burst, rocket, drill, laser, and void.
There you go.
That's it. And the white wisps.
Mhm. I guess I'm misremembering Asteroid? I could have swore that something has both Void and Frenzy.
Yeah, Asteroid is in Lost World, but it doesn't have doesn't even have Frenzy. I don't think it has Void in Lost World, right? Because Asteroid does most of what Void does.
Yeah, I don't think it has either of the Corrupted Wisps, which I don't think that would stop them from a narrative standpoint, but it wouldn't
No.
make sense from a narrative standpoint.
Ooh, speaking of from a narrative standpoint, Corrupted Wisps. You ever notice how the Corrupted Wisps were the only ones that didn't have eyes, but then they made the Ghost Wisp?
Oh yeah, they have the Ghost Wisp have the Corrupted Wisp face. I wonder if a Ghost Wisp is a dead Wisp.
They're not gonna tell us.
They're not going to tell us, but I guess it would make sense.
I guess that's what's going on. Ooh, there's some implications there, because if a Ghost Wisp is a dead Wisp and it looks like the Corrupted Wisps, are all the Corrupted Wisps, like, undead?
Yeah, that would make sense.
Cool. Good
We
for
did it.
them.
That was like the easiest headcanon brainstorming session we've ever had.
Wow, great work, team.
We did it. Handshakes all around. High fives.
I guess, like, if I have a closing thought on Colors Wii as a game, is that it's fun. It's not spectacular. It's not, like, mind-blowing. It's not even that great. It's just a pretty good game. It's solid.
Yeah, it is fun when you're not really like thinking about it on like how is this on the level of how is this progressing Sonic. It's fun. It is a fun game. It could stand to control a little better, I think, but
Yeah.
overall it is fun. It's very harmless fun. And I think personally I'm really not even that like bothered by how segmented all the levels are, because I think it's fine and I kind of prefer it to have little levels that are like little microcosm puzzle rooms, because they're also fun, and the challenge is doing those like quickly while getting everything and getting a good score, and that's why those usually have a much higher, or not a higher like score threshold, but it feels like it's a little more taxing to try and get S ranks in those than it is like a big stage where you have a lot of opportunities to just get good stuff, and typically time usually factors into that a lot more.
Yeah. On the smaller stages, they tend to have, like, lower score thresholds, but tighter score thresholds, where, like, the S rank will require you to get really high for what you can get in that level.
Yeah. They want you to be thorough and they want you to be doing it quick.
Yeah, and, like, that's why Colors is a really interesting score game compared to a lot of other games in the series. So it has that going for it.
Yeah, and it also has Gameland.
It also has Gameland.
Gameland's not really much to talk about. If you didn't know, it has Sonic 1 levels in it.
Yeah, they don't play super great.
Yeah, they're kind of funky, but if you beat all the Gameland levels, you get Super Sonic, and he's cool, but you can't really use him for like score.
Yeah, and he also can't use wisps, which is like it's fine. It's just a different way of playing the game.
Yeah, it is cool. The funny thing is that it actually is cool that he can't use Wisp, because he basically can still like break through Wisp blocks, I'm pretty sure. So
Yeah.
like he kind of breaks the game in like a new way, which is interesting because when you get Supersonic in a lot of the more modern games, he doesn't do that.
They actually when you play Supersonic and Sonic Colors, there's a couple of levels that have minor level design changes too.
Are there?
Yeah, I distinctly remember this. Some acts actually add a couple of blocks in places to make sure you can actually complete it.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's just what they had to do when like you can't use Hover Wisp or you can't use Spike's Wisp or Drill Wisp. Sometimes anyway.
I wonder how much that affects Colors Ultimate now that the Ghost Wisp is here. We went this whole episode and barely talked about the Ghost Wisp.
I gotta admit, it's not great.
It's not great. It really doesn't offer much. So, the long and short of the Ghost Wisp is that they made a new Wisp to basically take chunks out of existing sections, typically meant for other Wisps, and also so you could, like, go into the level terrain and find secrets. It's really not that compelling.
Mm-hmm. Did they even, like, update the level design for it? Like, does it just make use of existing level chunks where nothing happened, or what?
It's quote unquote updated level design where yes, you are going to existing chunks, but there is now level design in there.
Yeah.
They put solids down.
That's fine. I guess that's fine. Like that's a cool way to make extra use of material you already have.
Yeah, but like some of them are just like, oh, here's a spike section, except now it's completely walled off. Use the Ghost Wisp, and it's kind of lame.
Mm-hmm.
But they've rewired some of the red rings too. There was one red ring, I think, in Aquarium Park that I think was stupid, and you had to use the Ghost Wisp to go like all the way up to the tippy top of the level through like a big chunk of level terrain that's not even on screen. You have no indication that that's where you're supposed to go until you like guess around and get there, and then once you get there, you just go all the way up through like scaffolding to get the one red ring, and then you leave.
What about that one in the Planet Wisp Act I saw you playing earlier where you take the trail of Ghost Wisp nodes and then fall down from there, slide under a passageway, and there's a red ring there and then walls that you would think you have to wall jump up, but you can't actually leave that section. You have to go slide back onto the wall and then go back and get Ghost Wisp again and then go up. That was weird.
Yeah, that's the Ghost Wisp experience.
So weird.
It's very discombobulated.
At the end of the day, I feel like a lot of the stuff that Ultimate added is like neat in concept, nothing or very little in execution.
Yeah, it could have been so much more. It is what it is.
I kind of wish it was like the same. I kind of wish it was less. Like I wish it was just what colors we had with some graphical improvements and not capped at 30 frame rate, and that would be fine.
I guess so. I do agree. Like, to be honest, I kind of wish that they had focused on like the elements that actually affect the gameplay rather than the visuals, because Sonic Colors looks fine. Like, congrats, guys. You didn't have to put in the real-time lighting, especially if it's going to look like this. Sonic Colors looks fine. It's one of the best-looking Wii games. People will live. It's an old game. And, like, you guys could have kept that. You could have made it 60. Even on the Switch, it's a Wii game. So, like, we really didn't need the lighting. That's the big thing, is that, like, everything else could have just been there and be fine. If you didn't waste all your time making it look better than it needed to, which is a weird statement to make. Ultimately, I want games that look worse, cost less, and pay their workers better. And Sonic Colors could have been a way easier job, and we would have been way happier for it.
Yeah. And you're not kidding.
And I'm not kidding.
I'm Crepe. You can find me on Twitter at CrappyBlue.
I'm Mitt. I'm not kidding. You can find me on Twitter at Mitsumi Mario.
And if you're not kidding about how much you like this podcast, you should follow that also on Twitter at LTASonic. And you should also back us on Patreon if you got the money at patreon.com/LTASonic.
And if you're feeling super not kidding, you could even go on our website where we have all of our previous episodes. All of them. Every single one of them.
Yeah.
All of them.
It's all of them. And we'll see you in the next zone, if you're serious.
Yeah, if you're serious. It might be a chained, like, planet, though. We'll We'll work out the details. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, we're still figuring out if we call that a zone or if we call it a world or